Are you a woman who is ready to take control of her life and achieve anything she wants? In this podcast, you will find the inspiration and motivation you need to become an empowered and successful woman. Hi, my name is Laura Hearn, and I'm so excited for the new season of the Empowered Modern Woman podcast. This season is for women who are fed up with being held back by society's expectations. We're going to talk about everything from career advice to health and fitness tips to help you live your best life. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to hit subscribe and to tune in every week for each of our new episodes. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Empowered Modern Women podcast. I am so excited to introduce you guys to Migena Agaraj. She is a focused global connector, business matchmaker. She was born and raised in Albania. She's been in the United States for about 20 years. She lives in the amazing busy New York City. She has a consulting company and she provides real estate solutions and beyond. She's so busy. I don't know how she keeps her head on straight with being an author, a global connector, Grant Cardone licensee. She's a real estate investor, capital raiser, TV host. The list goes on, and she is absolutely obsessed with elevating women's voices, especially immigrant women entrepreneurs. So Migena, thank you so much. How are you doing today, my love?
Good afternoon from New York. Laura, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. We just do it. It's not how. We wake up ready to go, take massive actions, and one action at a time, sometimes 10 actions at a time, right? And people say, oh, how is it to multitask? And I'm like, we make it work. We make it work.
Yeah.
So yes,
Just like today, we were talking before we hit record. I was messaging with Migena, and I'm a mom, so I was getting my 3-year-old to please take a nap, negotiating with that terrorist. And groceries delivered, the dogs are barking. I dropped yogurt. It was crazy, but got all the things done that needed to get done to be able to show up right now for you guys.
Thank you. Yes. And same here. I showed up half an hour earlier, which is a shock because I'm usually late. And I was very proud of myself because we are always thriving to do 1% better every day. And as I say, I run a report at the end of every day, on a self-report, I call it. How did I do today? Did I show up late in a meeting, early? Did I say more? Did I say less? How everyone in my presence felt? And everything else that goes behind the scene. And I know that I'm going to put in my report for today that I was early for a podcast. So that's a win for me. So I just want to start with a win.
That's giving a mini heart attack is actually what you did. I was like, wait, that was okay. No,
I confused you. You're like, no. It's 12:30. But anyways.
But so you do so many things, and you've had such an amazing career before doing all of the amazing things you're doing now, and such an amazing story. And I don't want to tell your story; it's your story to tell. But tell me a little bit about what's been some of the most important factors of keeping you motivated now as an entrepreneur rather than corporate lady, and how that may connect back to just how you were raised. So tell me a little bit about your core values, what keeps you moving forward.
Wow, that's a very profound question. It is very profound. I say that I wake up every day looking forward to getting to know myself better, because we are a work in progress, and everything that goes with it. So what keeps me motivated, it's the fact that there are so many humans out there like myself who want to do better, want to help, but don't know where to begin. And I was one of them. I showed up in the world on a daily basis, always with that question: where can I add more value? How many more people can I help today? But then the question is, how can I help them? I don't even know where to begin, because I'm doing ABC to help myself and my family. So how does everyone else fit into Migena's world as I'm running my own mini world? And it goes back to uh, where I was born in Albania, in a very small town in southwest Albania, in a city called Fier, and in a tinier town called Povelj. So pretty much everybody knows everybody. Like I grew up with my grandparents around me, my uncles, my aunts, cousins, in a very tight community where everyone showed up for everybody else. And I loved waking up every morning where you have neighbors coming down the stairs to go to work, and you hear their footsteps to the point that you recognize which neighbor it is without even having the door open. Yeah. And because it's such a tiny town with a lot of different families from all over Albania who moved to this small town, I call it a mini New York. Sometimes I could tell which floor was cooking what based on the aromas, because there's different traditions, and you say, oh, this is this part of Albania cooking today, so I would name them. So again, the point I'm trying to make is, because I grew up always in an environment where we gave smiles, we gave hugs, we gave that good morning, we gave vegetables from our gardens, eggs from the chickens, so on and so forth, or fish that we caught. You moved to New York City. I moved to New York City, and I felt very lost. And I had no idea why I felt lost. At first, I blamed it, I have no legal status. Then I blame it, I don't speak the language. But later on in life, I realized that the reason why I felt lost was because I missed the community.
Yeah.
And I missed the part of me that wanted to give was on pause.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a community. Like no one knew me, and I didn't know anyone. I was going around roaming, trying to make $7 an hour, working at a diner to pay the debts for coming to this country and surviving and helping my family. And my driving force nowadays is the fact that now that I can communicate in a language that most of the world understands me, because my giving heart came with me from back home. It's who I am at the core. It's in my existence since I was born. It's not something that you learn or it is taught. It's something that you have in you. And now here I have this amazing community that now I can give back. So from when I was a recruiter hiring people, I was like, oh my goodness, this feels to give back to specific groups of people. And then fast forward, after I changed my careers to actually working with people versus for people, and being part of a collaboration of a book with 23 other powerful immigrants, female immigrants, my way of giving back is I am gifting my knowledge, my heart. I'm gifting my network. And I realized that nothing makes me happier than sharing with everyone else in my circle what I am about, what I'm doing, how I can plug in everyone else in my world, so we can expand and make everybody's dreams come true. And even if it's one small change that I'm adding into their lives, I'm having a great day. So so it comes from back home, but it's because of how amazing my network is. And I have just began. Like I'm constantly connecting, and that's how I connect with you, Laura. So
yes.
Here we are.
Thank you, C-Rock. Ooh, shout out to C-Rock. But the one thing that you pointed out was that community part. And coming from a Hispanic household and also a military. So for those of you that don't know my ethnicity, my mom is from Central America and is a naturalized citizen, and my dad's family is from the Ukraine and Hungary. So very interesting, amazing food I grew up eating. So I also really related to when you mentioned like the foods, the smells, the different foods. I'm like, yes, it is so true, because we also can name the same dish, the same thing, but it's not the same dish in the different regions. It's drastically different. I don't care if it's Eastern European food or if it's Central American or Mediterranean, we all have the same names. We just apply them very differently for, for dishes. It's confusing sometimes, but the community, the sense of community is such an important piece of the entrepreneurial puzzle. And I relate with you on that loss of community when you immigrated here, because as a military spouse, so let's just add a layer of my complication of my life, is every so many years I get uprooted from a community and have to start again. Sometimes I get really blessed and get to reunite with people we were stationed with before, but being displaced and moving somewhere that is, for all intents and purposes, an amazing opportunity. But being alone is probably one of the hardest things that an entrepreneur or a human being in general has to overcome, is finding and or creating a community of individuals that will help keep you moving forward on the good days, the bad days, and the everything in between. And one thing that I love about everything that you do now, it is based on community, and an amazing community that you've created, and then the communities that you participate in. And that's how we met each other, and how so many people in this world, especially post COVID, continue to grow our businesses. So I love that you realize that that was that missing piece.
Mm.
Sorry.
Thank you for sharing thank you for sharing that that piece, which is so crucial, because we look very different, we sound very different, we all have unique personalities, but at the end of the day, we connect through culture, we connect through we relate through cultures, because just like you have the passion for where you come from, I have the same passion for where I come from. And it's not necessarily that we know each other's cultures, but we know the feeling. And that's, I think it's what is one of the key ingredients, being able to relate to the feeling of missing something, and relate to the feeling of being happy when you are in the presence of other humans who can relate to you because of the feeling, not because you know how to cook the same dish the same way. But
Exactly.
and that's why I love how we go back to the origin, to the basic, versus despite of who's making more money, who's written more books, who is doing more in the world or less. Like, that's not how we measure adding value to each other's lives. It's not, oh, Laura doesn't need me because she has 50,000 people on her list. No, Laura and I relate and connect because we see each other and we feel each other. And now we know that she's someone that I can bring value into my world, because now I'm bringing Laura into my community, so I can make sure that even the 5 people I know or the 50,000 people I know can benefit, because you're doing so much in the world. You're showing up, you're giving me a voice, and me keeping you to myself goes against everything that I stand for.
And that's one of the reasons why I think we, again, connected so genuinely. Like the first time we talked off on Clubhouse, off of Clubhouse, on a one-on-one conversation.
Guys, for the record, it's not a club, it's a social media. We don't club.
It's not Mickey Mouse. But we had this conversation about the things we were passionate about. And the big things that highlighted was women entrepreneurs. It was also about connecting and understanding that there are so many people that do very similar things in the world, but we all do it a little bit differently. And we both understood that I can't serve every single person, and neither can Migena. But together we can share each other's voices, each other's stories, each other's points of views, and be able to inspire someone eyes to open and realize their true potential. It's not about what you do individually, but as a community, as a whole, what we can accomplish when we work together for a greater purpose. And it's magic when you find individuals that align with you. I mean, literally we were talking and I was like, oh my God, we're best friends. I absolutely love you. Like, yes, you're on the podcast. How can I help you? Who can I introduce you to? She's like, no, who can I introduce you to?
We're competing.
We're competing on like how we can help each other more. And
yes,
it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
That kind of brings me into, you did this book, right? You did your book.
Show it off.
Yes. And it's called Powerful Female Immigrants to Inspire Greatness. It's 24 different stories, right? Yes. And you guys are getting ready to work on another book.
And look at all these women here.
You guys, if you're listening to this on the
and podcast. This is my mom. Where is it? Oh my God, this is mom. Jesus.
Oh, yes. If you're listening to this on the podcast, go over to YouTube as well, because we have like the actual book and she's showing all the pictures of it. But you're also working on another book.
Yes.
Another collaboration book. And you're not keeping it a secret, along with everything that you're doing. Right? You have a whole community of other badass women immigrants. Tell me a little bit about how you developed that community and how that passion continues to grow there.
I like going back to the origin. So I grew up with a lot of, like my dad is one of 10. So I have 6 uncles, 3 aunts. And then on my mom's side, there's 3 aunts, 3 uncles. So I grew around a lot of strong men and women. And everyone had their own roles in the family. And as I said, then coming to America, you miss your big family, you miss the weddings, you miss playing soccer with your cousins or learning how to ride a bike. And it's not like I was trying to fill that void when I started my career in the real estate over a decade ago. But I'm a curious person and I love studying people. And then you hear these comments as you move up into a career. It's a male dominant industry. It's a man dominated space, and you are a woman, and and then because of those comments, I don't want to call them noises. Because of those comments, I constantly kept looking for the strong women in my life, because my mother is the strongest woman of all. So it's not like I miss the strength in women in my life, but I wanted to connect with more women because I am a strong woman. I come from a very strong family with very strong roots. And then as I'm going from one title to the next, to a role to the next, I call them responsibilities, because that's what they are. You added more responsibility and obligations. I learned that women being in competition with one another and not helping one another was not true.
Yeah.
I refuse because here I am a woman. I identify as a woman. I'm an international woman, which means I could adapt very easily. So I wanted to prove to a lot of people out there who have put us in this box that we fight one another so we can get that next job, that we don't trust one another because we're jealous or envious or God knows what. I am telling you, Laura, that every single woman in my life has been a blessing. From all the women in the real estate industry here in New York City to all the women that I've known globally. I'm talking from London to Australia to New Zealand, not to mention all these amazing, fabulous women who live in the United States but are from Cameroon, Venezuela, Kazakhstan, South Africa, you name it, Vietnam. And I'm not trying to prove a point. I am honestly not even trying. All I wanted to do was if I was ever in an opportunity where I can extend my hand to another human, a woman, a man, a child, whatever the case may be, I wanted to be that person. And because of a Clubhouse connection, a publisher reached out to me and asked me to be part of this collaboration with 23 other powerful female immigrants to share a chapter in a bigger book. And of course, I was like, "LOL, you have the wrong number. This is not. I mean, this is Migena, Mike. Remember?" He's like, "Yes, LOL. I know it's Migena." And I'm like, "I am not an author." He's like, "You have a story to tell." And then I'm thinking to myself, I was in a red eye traveling, I believe, from Miami to New York after a real estate summit. I said, well, for sure, I'm not an author. However, I am a storyteller. No one can tell my story better than me. So I can tell the stories all day. I love telling stories. Like I connected with John Chambers, who was a former CEO of Cisco,
Yeah.
because I told him a story at a restaurant when I was waiting tables on a Sunday, and I had no clue who the man was. Telling him stories.
Well, I want to bring back to
Yes.
that the comments about women in the workplace and within industries that are male prevalent, because I come from the finance industry too, right? Which is very similar to the real estate industry, especially corporate real estate, where it is very male prevalent. I stopped using the phrase male dominant and changed it to male prevalent, because we're better at sales than men.
Yes, we are. It's okay.
The thing is that in my career, even before I got into finance and when I was working other jobs, right, not career jobs, I realized that so many women fight against each other in these different levels of their career, and they sometimes pin each other against. And I'm like, no, like, no, this is not a good idea. We're not in direct competition. And I bring this back, how you said origin. Well, if we look at how women used to always be, communities used to always be, I see it how women used to always work together and be together. When the men would go out and do whatever hunting, war mongering, whatever the heck they did with their testosterone.
Exactly.
So we worked as a community although we were in the same community, right, or in the same business, in the same company, we had our roles and we lifted each other up so that we could get what we needed to get done.
For sure.
Right? Raise the young, do whatever we needed. And as corporate America developed and as women started entering the workplace, we weren't able to have that collaboration because we were a number. Oh, well, look, we got one woman here, two women here. That's all we need to check the box. So we started being in direct competition for these very few opportunities, right? The check in the box. Yeah, we hire women. Yep, we have one woman in the VP level, right? That put us against each other. Then you have women that are high level in different corporations and industries that, because they had it hard, somehow we all need to have it hard. And that is a farce. I hate when I hear that. Like, it's such a boomer generation phrase of like, well, I had it this hard. Like, okay, cool. But how can we make this better moving forward? And this communities of collaborations and not keeping trade secrets all to ourselves so that we can together grow is how we can blow away any stigma, any negative self-talk, any crap that's in our head of like, oh, well, this is a male industry. No, it's a female industry.
There are more women in the world than there are men. and that's a fact. So
100%.
there is no way they are the dominant number here. We are. And going back to your question, because I loved all the women in my life, and because I know for a fact that we are fabulous and we want to help one another, elevate one another, when Michael gifted me the opportunity to be part of a book, he trusted me to be part of this project with women globally who are lawyers, doctors, you name it. Um, so pretty much now that we are in volume 2, I said, I need to bring more women on the second book, because now I'll ask permission to bring women from my community to see what it looks like, what it is like to be part of a book. So it doesn't look at something unreachable, untouchable, and only imaginable. And the ones that see the value, grab it. The ones that don't see the value, it's my job, my duty, my obligation to make sure they see it. And then they also agree to be a part of this. So that's how it works. Sometimes they come in and it's an easy convincing that they are amazing and the world needs to meet them and know them. And sometimes it's up to us, the friend, to push them a little more so they can come out of their own shell and jump and take massive action. And I tell them, close your eyes and hit send on the chapter and just wait. Don't wait and then give. I said give and then wait. So that's what you need to do.
That's one of the things that I like when you told me about that last time we chatted, and I was like, yes, like take massive action. Just do it. Do it scared. Just jump in and put it out there. Put what you're doing out there. Put your story out there, because you will, even though it's hard to put your own story out there. And I know that because I've struggled with it too. But what I realized once I started telling my story and highlighting other individuals to tell their stories is that more and more women are able to stand up and say, me, yeah, I've experienced that too. I'm not alone. I am so ready to tell their story. And it's this chain reaction where the community just starts building and building and growing, and the confidence and the empowerment and the success just starts scaling. And it's like a fire that catches. And it's so beautiful to watch that happen. And I'm all about massive action. I'm all about stop saying maybe and just say hell yes. Like just freaking do it. And hold yourself accountable and take that responsibility. That if you say, yes, I'm going to be part of this book. Yes, I'm going to do this podcast. Yes, I'm going to do this. Like, do it. Tell someone you're going to do it and start putting it out there. Because if you don't, you're going to keep it to yourself. And I feel like that is the biggest thing that holds so many of us back, is that fear of rejection, that fear of if we say what we're passionate about, we say what we're doing, that someone's going to say that's dumb. And I'll guarantee you, someone's going to say that it's dumb, but it's about doing it anyways. So I want to make sure that we know how to get in touch with you again. I have your social media below, but if someone is looking, like, you're a connector, right? We've talked about your community. We've talked about your cultural background. We've talked about a lot of like how you became who you are now. But with the business matchmaking and the ultimate connecting that you do, what is it that stands out to you of like, this is someone that I know I can connect with my industry? Because I don't want anybody like, oh, Migena connects people, let me just connect. What is it that you do? What is your specialty in that business matchmaking, in that business connection? Who are the main type of people that you're looking to really make that impact on that side?
I don't actually have a specific demographic. It's more of how you and I connect And as I get to know you better, I have a better understanding of who you are as a person, and then I match you heart-wise with someone that can benefit from you, and vice versa. Because we're not looking for the most successful people. We're not looking for the people who are in need the most. We are looking for people that match mind, heart, and I leave it up to them to take it further into this connection. My initial thought is Laura is a beautiful person. She's doing something amazing in the world. I know all my network can benefit from it. However, can all of them be a fit? Absolutely not. But at the same time, it's not my right to determine who is a fit for Laura's life and who isn't. My job, and my job that I've created for myself since I was a little girl, is I know enough about both people, both friends, to put them at their own table and let them take it from there. I don't match for you. I don't find solutions for you. I have this beautiful garden with different flowers, and I know that you like flowers, but I don't know that you necessarily like roses or a different type of flower. So my job is to go into my garden and gift you a flower from my garden, and then either you cultivate it and you make your own garden of it, or you put it in a vase and it stays in your presence for a couple of weeks, or it dries out and nothing comes out of it. That's up to you. I still have those friends in my garden. Just because I'm gifting them to you, it's not that I am letting go of them and gifting them to you fully. Like, it's part of us having the same gift. So this is why when I speak with people, I always say, let me know who you are, what you're doing in the world, and how can I help is connect you with someone I believe may be a good fit for your initiative, for your startup, for to help with your children and their college selection. Or you're looking to write a book, let me connect you with a publisher. Are you looking to be in a podcast? I have the perfect podcasters in my network. Or God forbid, someone got kidnapped somewhere in the middle of nowhere, please call me. I'm going to put you in touch with someone who rescues children and people in human trafficking, because I just love having everyone in my world. Or are you looking for a lawyer? Let me connect you with someone. I don't want to know details. Now, I leave it up to everyone else. And that's why I love it so much, because I always say I love to be a source. And then when I'm asked, where does this confidence come from? And I say, it doesn't come from me. It comes from my network, because I can't possibly be an expert at everything. However, if I'm earning Laura's trust and Laura has earned my trust, and I bring to her plate, to her attention, one more connection, one more possibility, she trusts me enough to pick up the phone and get on that conversation. Yeah. Laura makes the ultimate decision. Everyone else in my life makes the ultimate decisions. I don't decide for anyone, but I am the initiator, where I am saying, I am a source. I am confident that I can be a source to you, because I'm constantly looking to increase the number of beautiful connections in my life, so I get to serve A through Z versus A through D at this point, because I only know certain industries.
What I love about that, well, like, you're so like me, where we can talk forever. Like, literally, we're so passionate about the things that we do, is that flower garden metaphor. You're not clipping a flower and handing it to me as in one of your connections, one of your community members. We're cross-pollinating.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
And having the opportunity to potentially have this beautiful hybrid of a new blossom of something that could have never have bloomed before, because we didn't know each other yet.
Very true.
So Migena, she allows that opportunity to create new opportunities by introducing you to the massive amount of blooms and blossoms and flowers in her amazing garden of network. And
there's flowers right here. And it's working.
And so it's not about like what you're doing. It's about who you are at your core and your soul, and how that connects with your greater purpose. And who do I know? Who does Migena know? And how can we potentially help you grow?
Yes.
How can we fertilize your garden? How can we help you?
Yeah. How can we be the sun, the air, the oxygen, everything that's needed? Because if I am just one tree in a forest, it will be a very lonely forest. Yeah. And I cannot create enough shadow or enough benefits for the planet. But now when I am surrounded by a lot of other trees and it's a healthy forest, then you have families going and having camping there. You have a lot more birds finding a home there. So this is how I see it. Like nobody should be alone. Like if you wake up in the morning and you have this feeling of being empty, because it happens to all of us, men, women, children. Some understand it more than others. Some don't even know why they have this feeling of being so empty that particular morning, or that something is missing. I always say go back to your cell phone and start scrolling and see that you actually are not alone, because you have all these contacts on your phone. You have all these people on the social media. You look around and you're surrounded by pictures of family members, friends. And then if you can keep that in mind, that regardless how you're feeling as a person, empty or alone or lonely, whatever the case may be, remind yourself that there are so many people that are in your world, and make that first step, connect with them, reconnect with them. So then you feel, I guess, alive again and full again. So you don't feel like a lonely tree in a forest, and eventually you feel like you are no longer going to exist, but start speaking with other trees, like you said, cross pollinating and creating those gardens. And another thing I want to mention, which is very, very important for me, is someone told me one day, in a conversation, wow, New York City, it's a very big city, right? It's a large city. And I said, no, it's not. It's a very small city, in fact. Well, but you walk in and you get lost. There's people everywhere. They're bumping into you. And I said, okay, any city, regardless of the size, it could be the largest city in the world or the smallest city in the world. You have that choice to make it small or big by the way you show up. So when you go to that restaurant, and when you greet that hostess that is sitting at that table, or you're greeting the waiter that is going to help you for that 2 hours that you're sitting there, and you treat them just as someone who's going to give you that glass of water, because I've been on that side. I've been that waiter, waitress, the servant, the hostess. I've been them all. If you connect with them, next time you go there, that's going to be the most amazing restaurant experience you'll have, because you have someone familiar there who recognizes who you are. But if you're someone who constantly goes into the same restaurant, doesn't exchange your smile, your energy, a little bit about who you are, so you give the opportunity to others to get to know you, you will always feel a very tiny drop in a big city. So the choice is yours. And being in this world, it's no different, thanks to social media, thanks to podcasts. So we all have a choice to be known, to be selfless, to give, and leave it up to them if they want to take it or not. But it's a very small city, New York, because everywhere I go, I know somebody, or I bump into someone that knows me, and I love it. And I think I have recreated that community that I missed living when I moved here as a teenager. So
I love it.
And that's how I show up in the world every day, meeting one more person.
In New York City, y'all, it is small. Like, it's just an island.
It is small.
It is pretty small, actually. It's just very tall.
It's vertical.
It's tall. But I love how you made that point about interacting with others, right? Don't be afraid to connect. We are humans. We are meant to have human connection. We are meant to communicate with others. It doesn't matter your perceived status in the world. We are all human. So going to that restaurant, I don't care if you're a multi-billionaire, you're going to get the best service and have an amazing experience when you are the most authentic you and connecting with your server and having a good time. And that's going to continue to feed where they're like, hey, did you meet so and so? They're absolutely amazing. And I could go on and on about that because it's connected to, so many people think like, oh, well, money is the root of evil and wealthy and rich and successful people are all a-holes or whatever. But really, when you peel back the layers, and if the more authentic you can be in every human interaction and understanding your true purpose and how you want to elevate the world around you in your community and the things that matter most to you, and how your success can allow you and others to be able to achieve a level of greatness that you have no idea, you'll realize that all of these little things, all of these little elbow bumps in the world, whether it's on social media or in a big city walking down the street,
so true,
they're all a butterfly effect.
So
they
true.
make a difference. I mean, I don't know how many times Migena and I were in the same freaking rooms on Clubhouse for years. And then we finally said, hey.
Yes.
And here we are now introducing each other to each other's communities and sharing each other's voices and stories. So I want to make sure anyone that is tuning in today, if Migena's story or passions resonate with you, that you go to her social medias, which are listed below. You go to her website, Ask Migena, and you reach out to her and have that opportunity to have that connection, that community built around you. And, obviously, if it doesn't make sense, if there isn't a connection, I can bet you, Migena or we will still know someone that would probably be a great fit for you.
1,000%.
Because I'm not for everyone. I know that. And that's why we do this. That's why we share our communities and we share our network. And Migena, I just want to thank you so much for your time, even though you've been ready and available 30 minutes ago. I want to thank you for your authenticity, your beautiful soul, your story that I just love and resonate with on so many different levels, and everything that you are doing in this world to connect people, to collaborate with others, and to just further the goodness that is in the world. And just want to thank you so much from the deepness of my heart for gracing my podcast with your presence. And I want to give you the floor of if there's anything else that you want to make sure that you share, that people know about you, or whatever. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Yes, it's again, it's an honor to be here. If it wasn't for creators like you, Laura, we would be deprived the opportunity to be an extension, to be a hand, an ear, a shoulder to so many out in the world, or just like that word of inspiration that if someone can hear us speaking today and feel that it is not possible. I am speaking from a personal experience that it is possible. You have to take massive action, and then everyone else will be so ready to embrace you. But you have to show up in the world in order for us to get to know you better. And you're giving us this platform. So I appreciate you so much, because I am more excited about all the other women that will be part of your podcast than I actually am about myself. Like, we need so many more stories in order for us to change the world one person at a time. And the reason why I say this is because when I was working in New York City over a decade in the real estate, and always wanted to do that next, last year I pretty much resigned my corporate job, attended a Grant Cardone real estate summit, decided to resign right on the spot, join his real estate club, because I knew I needed the people that Grant was attracting, because they were speaking a language I wanted to learn, and I wanted to be able to communicate, and I wanted to be able to teach to others. It's not just about me learning, it's about me communicating and then moving forward with it and bringing it to my communities, to my friends, family, cousins, you name it, globally, or even to someone that I'm sitting on next to me on the plane, like anybody and everybody, a stewardess who wants to have passive income, you name it. The opportunities are endless. And then I also joined his licensing program, where now I can, in a legit way, speak about Grant's products that he put together for over 3 decades that he wants to gift to the world. And then I opened my consulting company for real estate solutions, because I want to bring solutions to the table, because I've seen all these men and women who have contributed for my success over the years so they could help be who I am today. I said, you know what? I'm just going to gift back to the community. So pretty much a super proud entrepreneur at this point, but I am most proud that I am a good daughter, a good sister, a good cousin, niece, and a friend, and a business partner. And I just never want to lose myself in the process of anything. So that's how I define success. And just wanted to thank you again for the opportunity, for giving me the floor today. Thank you. And I hope to see you soon in another podcast.
Yes. And thank you so much, Migena, again. And thank you to everyone for tuning in to this week's episode of the Empowered Modern Woman podcast. And I will see, hear, and be with all of you next week. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Empowered Modern Women podcast. Again, your host is me, Laura Hearn, and this podcast is for women who are fed up with being held back by society's expectations. We talk about everything from career advice to health and fitness tips to help you live your best life. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit subscribe and leave a review. New episodes come out every single week to help you find the inspiration and motivation you need to become empowered and successful. Be sure to follow us on social media at Money Mindset by Laura.